Movie starts with a baseball game on suburban North Denver. The guy named Finney Blake used to like a girl from his class. During the game, he tried to impress her with his skills, but unfortunately he lost the game. Later on, after the game, a guy named Bruce was going back to his home, where a local serial child abductor and murderer known as the Grabber abducts him in his black van. Finney Blake and his younger sister Gwen live in the same area with their abusive alcoholic father Terrence. Terrence's wife used to have disturbing psychic dreams which eventually led her to commit suicide. Finney is frequently bullied and harassed at school, but his friend and classmate Robin always comes to defend him against the bullies.
Dipshits.
Gwen inherited her mother's ability to see weird dreams. At one night, Gwen dreamt about the Grabber's abduction of Bruce. Next morning, two police detectives, Wright and Miller, interview Gwen at school, believing that she may have knowledge about the Grabber, and ask her some basic questions to help them in their investigation. When Terrence learns about the questioning, he beats her with a belt, and asks her not to tell anyone about these dreams, as these are just some normal dreams. Later, Terrence receives a phone call saying that Finney's friend Robin has been abducted too. Next morning, Finney got beaten by bullies near the school, as no one was there to help him this time. After school, Finney was returning back home. He saw a parked black van. Next to it, a strange man was picking up his fallen groceries. Finney tried to help him, but he lures him with black balloons and abducts him too. Finney awakens in a soundproof basement with a disconnected black telephone on one wall. His sister, who was at her friend's house, receives a call from police, saying that his brother has been abducted. She runs back crying and worrying to her house. Before going to sleep, she prays to God to provide her with dreams related to the whereabouts of her brother. Finney tried checking on the phone, if it works, but the Grabber told him that the phone doesn't work since his childhood. As soon as the Grabber leaves, Finney tries to call out for help and tries to escape, but everything fails. Soon the telephone begins to ring. Finney hears only static when he first answers it, but then hears Bruce's voice telling him about a floor tile he can remove in order to dig an escape tunnel. Finney starts to dig, but the foundations of the house are sunk too deeply for him to go beneath them. The Grabber brings Finney a meal and leaves the basement door unlocked. As Finney is about to sneak out, he gets a call from Billy, another victim. Billy warns Finney that the Grabber is waiting at the top of the basement stairs to punish him if he tries to leave, as part of a cruel game. At Billy's suggestion, Finney uses a hidden length of cable to climb up to the basement window. However, his weight pulls out the grate covering the pane, leaving him with no way to reach it again. Gwen again sees a dream about a man named Max. She confides to Terrence about her dreams of Finney's abduction. Wright and Miller question Max, who is staying in the area with his brother, and who has shown great interest in the Grabber's crimes. It is revealed that Finney is being held in Max's basement, and that the Grabber is his brother. Finney receives a call from Griffin, a third victim, who gives him the combination to the lock securing the house's front door, and tells him that the Grabber has fallen asleep. He sneaks out and unlocks the door, but the Grabber quickly recaptures Finney after his dog Samson barks to wake him. A fourth victim, named Vance, who was one of Finney's bullies, calls to tell him that he can break through a wall and into a freezer in the adjacent room. Finney does so, but finds the freezer door locked. As Finney despairs over his fate, he receives one last call from Robin, who urges him to stand up for himself and fight back by packing the phone receiver with dirt to use it as a weapon. After experiencing a vision of the Grabber's house, Gwen calls Wright and Miller to give them the address. The police rush to the house and find the bodies of the Grabber's victims buried in the basement. Meanwhile, Max realizes Finney is being held in the basement and rushes to free him, but the Grabber kills him with an axe and attacks Finney, having decided to end his game. Finney uses the byproducts from his previous escape attempts to trap the Grabber in a pit he dug, beats him with the receiver, and breaks his neck with the phone cord. Throwing a steak from the freezer to Samson as a distraction, Finney leaves the house, which turns out to be across the street from the one the police have raided. Terrence tearfully begs Finney and Gwen to forgive his earlier treatment of them. Some time later, a newly confident Finney sits next to his crush in class, and says she can call him Finn. The movie ends.